Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and it's that time of year for my top 10 list featuring my buddy
Matt. Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me, Shane.
Well, of course, this is honestly my favorite video I get to do every year because for some reason we go an hour and a half just talking about movies.
We've been doing this for how many years now? This is like the third one, right?
I think this is the third one. I think this is the third different background too. Or no, did we do it up here last time? This time I brought chairs up, so we're actually seated in actual chairs. Guys, I think we were on ottomans last year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
These are more comfortable. And we're also kind of on the same height level here, too, because I think it was awkward. I think I was on the stool, and you were on the ottoman, like hunched down. But anyway, we're actually going to talk about movies. So we're here to talk about our top 10 films. We're going to go from number 10 to number 1, taking turns, and if one of us says a movie and it's on the other one's list, we'll chat about it too. And also we're going to do a other little video where we're going to talk about some films that we hope you check out that might not have made our top 10 list. So I'm going to start off with my number 10, which is Ford v Ferrari. Number 10. So Ford v Ferrari is directed by James Mangold, who did an amazing job with so many films up to this point in a variety of genres, doing Walk the Line and 310 to Yuma and Logan, the Wolverine, and getting to do Ford v Ferrari, which features two great performances from Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Christian Bale gets to do the over-the-top fun character that has a lot of personality, and Matt Damon gets to really be the emotional anchor, and he had some really impressive emotional moments. And there's some fun supporting cast in here too, especially Tracy Letts, who plays the Deuce, as Matt Damon refers to him as Henry Ford Jr., or Henry Ford II. And this film's exhilarating. It has amazing race scenes. It uses great use of music. And for a 2.5-hour movie, it just zips on by. And this really feels like an old-school Hollywood film, and done in the best way. And I really enjoyed it. It's just a fun time, honestly. And you're in it, you feel like you're on a joyride in these crazy fast cars. And you didn't get a chance to see it yet, right?
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I'll watch it eventually.
When I buy it, and it joins the Shane Kanto blockbuster that I have in my room, and then we can watch it.
Have you ever done a video of your collection?
I have not, but now I have an idea for one. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Just because I'm looking at all of these, take my word for it, I want to say there's maybe 200 DVDs and Blu-rays that I'm looking at right now.
You need to do some better math.
How many am I looking at?
Around 1,300.
Okay, so asterisk 1,300.
There's an edit. What's your number 10, Matt?
Let me see. So I'm gonna go with 1917. So this movie, I went into it not knowing too much about it, and I had only watched the first trailer, the teaser, and I thought, Benedict Cumberbatch, all right, why not? And then we actually...
Last man standing.
That was fantastic. Every single thing in that side of this movie, whether it be the single shot thing, which I think this movie is also on your list, right? I think
I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, so I won't talk about the cinematography aspect until we get to where it ranks for you, but I'll just go characters. I love the fact that all the characters are really interesting. I love the fact that the acting was also really, really impactful. So it's a war movie, so there's multiple death scenes, but there's this one death scene in particular that was so hard to watch. It was almost kind of like watching Saving Private Ryan. Not so much the beginning scene, but there's another scene kind of towards the middle where you just have to sit there and with the character that's trying to take care of him, just kind of see, I guess, the inevitability in the other person's eyes of, I can't really do anything except hold your hand. There's so many awesome choices in this movie. It looks fantastic. It is extremely tense. Maybe if I had an 11, it would be Uncut Gems as kind of in terms of tense and making me kind kind of like, I'm gonna get an ulcer by the time the credits roll. So yeah, fantastic.
You know it's a great movie when it's gonna give you an ulcer by the end.
Yeah, that needs to be like the end of your review. Bring in acid. But like, thumbs up. 1917. Thumbs up.
And I will gush over that movie in a little bit, but if you've ever watched any of my videos and I've ever mentioned Roger Deakins, you know he's the GOAT. And he earned it. Now, my number 9 is Waves. And I was lucky enough to get to see an early screening of Waves.
Yeah.
And this movie blew me away. And this film really balances itself on human emotion, human relationships, and this atmospheric just tone and the music and everything and how it all comes together, which the weirdest thing is this is from the same director as It Comes at Night. Except this isn't a horror movie, but it might scare you as much as one. Because this film's so interesting, and it's hard for a movie to build up to, like, a nuclear blast of emotion in the middle of the movie and then still have half a movie left to tell you and go from there. And this film builds to something really, really intense and uncomfortable and unnerving, and just the performances across the board are incredible. I wish Sterling K. Brown got some attention for Best Supporting Actor, and I'm obviously going to talk about the Oscar nominations in a video soon, but there's like 4 people that's like their slots, their nominations have been set, and then there's that Anthony Hopkins spot, which could have went to Willem Dafoe, could have went to a lot of different people, and I wish Sterling K. Brown got a lot more attention because there's some really hard moments of trying to hold a marriage together or trying to connect with your daughter after traumatic life situations and just relationships of one that starts off seeming so great, but then all the layers get pulled back to reveal such a unhealthy, toxic relationship. And it's young people growing up in relationships, and then a new relationship budding that's super, super awkward because, you know, the characters are super awkward, but it's nice watching them grow together. And if you watch my reviews, you realize that I prefer genre films, but this was definitely something that was purely human drama that really got my attention.
I like the fact that, I guess what many people consider a very small movie made your top 10 of 2019. Because I'm assuming, okay, I'm going to make another number that's probably going to be super lower than it actually is. Didn't you say, you saw like 115 movies this year, right?
Around 200, yeah, pushing 200.
Pushing 200, yeah. So,
well, because like I even saw Clemency, and I just did my video for that this morning, and it'll post in a couple of days. But like, I'm like, it didn't make my top 10, but it made my top 20, and that's saying something because I saw 200 films, and if you crack my top 20, that's really impressive. Because like, Us was in my top 10 up until I saw 1917, and it's tough. There's a lot of films, and I see a lot of films, and something like Waves being such a small film and getting a chance to see that really stood out, and I was glad I got to see it.
Yeah, I know that. I know for a long time you were really hoping that Replicas was going to be in your top 10. So,
so I don't like making fun of movies, so I don't do like my 10 worst films. But Replicas is like the third film from the bottom of all my films from 2019. My God, Keanu.
Why?
Your year started off horrendous and then just skyrocketed from there.
Well, January, I think, right? That was a
God,
movie?
last January was really disappointing. And it's January, so you know it's going to suck. God, class. But, I mean, what's your number 9?
It's Little Women. Okay, so I really wanted to watch I think like the 90s movie with Christina Ricci. I got through,
like Susan Sarandon, Christian Bale's in it.
Yeah, I watched only like 10 minutes and then I just had to just back out. Like it was so intensely boring. And maybe because I wasn't in the right headspace for it, I don't know, but it just wasn't for me. and then I never got around to looking at it again. And then I never read the book because I don't know. I just never read the book. I gotta get back into reading before I watch movies though. But this movie, if there's anything that would stop you from watching a movie, whether it be how characters talk in a particular way because they're in a particular time period, maybe you don't like I don't know, like time period movies in general, so like the costumes and like the historical things, you might need to have some kind of understanding of what's going on because they're in the midst of the Civil War, in this story. If like there could be multiple things that would stop someone from watching this movie, but I promise you it is so awesome. Like it fits in 2019 so well. Like it's emotional, it's romantic, but it's also really really smart. It has like a lot to has a lot to say. You know what I mean? It's like relationships. Also, Saoirse Ronan in it, but it says like there's like two like tiny little like conversations between characters talking about kind of like how they are actively trying to break free from like societal and social conventions, being being women in that time. I thought it was fantastic. Actually, I forget her name. She's gonna be inside of the new Black Widow movie. She's the sister of Saoirse Ronan.
Oh, Florence Pugh.
There we go.
Who definitely earned that Best Supporting Actress nomination that she got, because she's had a year too with Midsommar and
extremely different movies.
Fighting with My Family, where she played Paige, the WWE wrestler. But yeah,
it was thumbs up for me.
Little Women's like in my top 15, so it's like right outside the top 10 of mine, and Greta Gerwig does such an amazing job of making this film feel so relevant in 2019. And that's what you really need to do with a period piece, is find the relevance and why it connects still today. And it doesn't feel anachronistic at all. It's like you find the universal themes that make you connect to it. And the performances are great across the board. All four daughters, Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson's probably like the closest one for me to being like not as strong as the rest of them. But Florence Pugh and Eliza Scanlon surprised me a lot, who plays the youngest daughter. And like Laura Dern's in it, Streep's in it. And
Chalamet.
Yeah, and Timothy Chalamet just shows up every scene and just like zaps energy into this movie. And that's the thing, this film had a lot of energy. And I probably would have picked her over Todd Phillips for Best Director.
Interesting.
But that's not this video.
Interesting.
But my number 8 is Marriage Story. And I had to call my girlfriend after I saw this movie because it made me feel too much afterwards. Having grown up like a child of divorce, like, film hits really hard. And Noah Baumbach's really impressive with his screenplay, his direction. And this is the kind of film where the subtleness of the editing and cinematography are there, but it still feels so well done that it brings a lot of energy to the film. And this film is anchored by 2 amazing performances. And I would be happy if both of them won Best Actor and Best Actress between Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, because they were both that good. And I know this scene's flying around everywhere, but the argument that they have that just keeps escalating, which memes everywhere, like, it's really hard to watch. And then you have Laura Dern, who's amazing in a supporting role in it. Alan Alda, who shows up, who's just funny and endearing. And then Ray Liotta, who's just scummy as hell. Did you see Marriage Story?
Yeah. That's a little bit higher on my list. I guess I'll talk about it, like why I liked it, but yeah, agreed. That was some hard stuff. That argument was, I think it was uncomfortable because it seemed so real, like what they were talking about, and kind of like imagine a relationship and you recap the highlights of what made it bad, and then just kind of like worse and worse and worse, and it is very, very painful to watch. I would recommend watching it alone, maybe not with the relationship.
I was happy I got to see it in a theater instead of watching on Netflix. But that scene, it's so amazing because in a movie, a lot of the times it's going to start as a screaming fight. Just an argument. But this started out so small.
They didn't know what to say to each other.
And started snowballing and snowballing and snowballing in such a natural way. And this film feels so natural. And the interesting thing is because it could feel potentially alienating because like it's about like high artists. It could feel like I'm just a regular person. How am I connected to like these first world problems of like this guy's a Broadway director and she's an actress, but like you really feel the grounded human connections in this film that really stick out.
And that goes back to like good writing because so there's probably like one way to write a character to make it like really accessible, so it's almost kind of like surfacey. They're only like maybe like 2 or 3 quirks and somebody just like says their lines, but to really understand like what their interests are, like literally like, the way that the movie begins, I thought it was perfect, kind of like explaining both players, and then also like understanding like their careers and why that is important to them, especially Scarlett Johansson's career, because it's kind of like she's like in this process of shifting. Like she doesn't want to be just this thing. She wants to have like a more active, more like in control role, not only as like a wife, but then also because she's. I would say, I don't want to say that one is kind of like worse than the other, but I feel like maybe I side with her a little bit more. I feel like I side with a little bit with her just because of what she has to do, and then when she finally says, I don't want to do this anymore, like I feel like a lot of movies kind of say, oh, well she's bad. But I don't really think that was the case. I feel like, well, I have a lot of feelings about it. Yeah.
It's interesting because the first half of this film, you spend a lot more time with Scarlett Johansson, and I was sitting there like, what's wrong with you? And then
so you were opposite.
Well, then you start spending a bunch of time with Adam Driver, and then I'm like, oh, I can see why.
Yeah.
And that's...
He's kind of controlling.
That's the really great thing about this film is it makes it complex. Like, life is complex. It isn't just as easy as... It's hard to sit and think about, like, what are your real feelings about this situation, and where would you side? It's like, why do you have to side? But it's really complicated. Because they're complex, they're people. But there's my number 8. What's your number 8?
Alright, so I'm going to go with Rocket Man. So, let's see. So, I don't think I've told you this. So, I just started piano lessons. Yeah, I just started piano lessons. It is extremely humbling experience to start from like less than 0, like complete. I just want to just understand how to do this thing, and they're like, okay, hit this note. Doop, that was wrong. Okay, I'm not great at this. So like, the reason why I bring that up is because Rocket Man, I love Elton John. Some Say My Life Tonight and Tiny Dancer are like some of like the 2 like greatest songs I've ever like heard in my entire life. But I think that movie not only is great because of the acting and the fact that like Elton John had his hands like all in it but didn't make it really pretty or anything like that. Like this movie hits on so many themes of drug like addiction, sex addiction, like having like a really like hard messed up childhood that doesn't become pretty like over time. Like it was so interesting and cool. Plus it makes you really want to dance. Plus, it made me want to learn piano because I've been kind of like saying it for like years. Oh yeah, I'm gonna learn piano. I'm finally learn piano.
That's awesome.
So let's see how that goes.
I'm gonna be so Rocket Man's not in my top 10, but I love that movie, and that's something I can see myself watching over and over and over again.
You're an Elton John fan too, right?
Yeah. We need to get tickets.
Yeah, I know. Right?
If he does one last go around here in this like endless retirement tour, we need to get tickets. But it's like I'm gonna be the like billionth person on the internet to shit talk Bohemian Rhapsody while talking about Rocket Man. But it's like where Bohemian Rhapsody felt so clean and brushed up. I'm not surprised Elton John's the kind of person to be like, tell it! Just go for it. Because that's how he is. He's just a larger-than-life character, and this movie, and the fact that it's an actual musical, absolutely loved it. And just from start to finish, it's such a ball. And Taron Egerton did a great job.
He deserved his Golden Globe.
Yeah, he did. And it's right on the outside there looking in with the Oscars, but it's a tough crowd this go around. Like, Robert De Niro didn't even get nominated for an Oscar, and everyone's like, Irishman. But I really enjoyed Rocketman so much, and I'm definitely going to be rewatching that a lot.
Also, thumbs up to like the little kids that play Elton John too. Like, thumbs up to them too, because they also have singing and more serious moments.
Oh, where the little kid has to sing "Bitches Back."
Yeah.
That was such a great song to start that movie off with. Such an Elton John thing to do. But my number 7, speaking of The Irishman, is The Irishman. And I know we have very different feelings about The Irishman, but I got to see this in a theater, all 3.5 hours of it, sitting there watching The Irishman, and it's easy to say, like, the first 2 hours, like the first feature-length film of this movie, feels like what you would expect from Martin Scorsese gangster movie. Now, what's probably making this not higher on my list is the fact that you can CGI somebody's face, but you can't CGI away a 70-year-old person's body trying to beat up somebody. That just should not have been a thing. Honestly, that scene was terrible. But anyway, the performances in this, and a lot of them are a lot more understated than you'd probably expect, except for Al Pacino. He still gets Al Pacino out, and why wouldn't he? He's Al Pacino. I'm surprised Joe Pesci didn't have freak out moments in this movie, but what he did was a lot subtler, and there's certain things about the performance that were really impressive. And, like, Robert De Niro comes to play. Like, would I say Robert De Niro's performance as Frank Sheehan's one of my top 5 favorite performances of the year, which you're going to see my Wasteland Reviewer Awards next weekend, where I actually pick the nominees too. You're not going to see Robert De Niro in it. But the thing is, it's like, they all came to play, and, like, there's so many actors in this movie. Like, Harvey Keitel pops up, and, like, Ray Romano. But I think the most impressive thing about this is, once this film hits a certain point, it completely subverts your expectations of this being a gangster movie, and then turns into a complete deconstruction of the whole entire gangster life. Because you don't really see that in any Scorsese movie. Because even by the end, and, like, I would even lump Wolf of Wall Street in here, because let's be real, he was a gangster. Just, he wasn't in the mafia.
Yeah, white-collar gangster.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like...
Or whiter-collar gangster.
Yeah. But it's like, by the end of Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort's fine. He's perfectly fine.
Sell me a pen.
Yeah, and, like, Henry Hill and Goodfellas is still a scumbag. And he's just like, I miss my life being a gangster, and now I have to be in Minnesota or something. And, like, Casino, Robert De Niro's character is still probably going to live his life doing his thing. Not this movie. This movie opens your eyes to the fact that this life is alienating and just going to ruin your life. And you're going to lose everybody. And you're going to die alone. And that's probably one of the most powerful things about this movie all the way up into the end, watching them age into being really, really old men. And it was really powerful. And I'm not going to say that I coined this comparison, but I saw this pretty early on, was like, this is the Unforgiven of gangster movies. Where it's like, I'm going to take this, and it's still going to be a gangster movie, but I'm going to tear it down. And I felt like this film does that. And I think that's what makes this special. And it's Martin Scorsese.
I wonder if this movie, in terms of people's, like, consciousness, is going to have the staying power as other gangster movies that kind of, like, glorify that sort of life.
I don't see this film being as big of a classic as a Goodfellas,
or even like a non-Scorsese movie, like a Scarface. Like, yeah, like he does die really badly in the end, but
that's funny because I hate Scarface. But
that makes me sad. That needs to be in this. What is it, 1300? Really? But like I don't know if I wonder how other. I've never asked this question actually to anybody else. I see you're one of the few people that I talk like deep with movies about. But I wonder if other people when they watch it and really think about it, especially at the end, because that movie has like funeral scenes and that. Like there's a lot of stuff that happens at the end of this movie that is never addressed in many other movies like this. I wonder if people find that too hard to appreciate and say, okay, yeah, no, I'll watch that movie again.
Well, I feel like this film, so like, for those, I feel like that are singing this film's praises, a lot of their praise is the last hour and a half of this film. And then I feel like too many audiences' expectations are probably going to be that this is to be a Martin Scorsese gangster movie.
Finish out on top. Right?
And they're not going to be okay sitting there for another hour and a half letting this kind of just dissolve and rot. I don't know if everybody's going to be game for that, especially after you sat through a whole entire film's worth of movie at that point. And that's tough. And I can see, and there's a few films, I guess, on my list that I can see where people might not appreciate it as much as I did, and this is probably one of them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your number 7?
Alright, let me see. Oh, wait, I just looked at it. It's The Farewell. So my mom, who is definitely not a movie person, if you can get her interested by a trailer to see your movie, you did something like fantastic. So she saw this movie. She was like, Matt, you gotta watch it. And I was like, fine. Also, when do you go to AMC? And then I saw it, and I thought it was fantastic. Like, I think, what did I write down? I think that this movie actually should have gotten a screenplay nomination.
It was a BS that this movie didn't receive a single Oscar nomination. I'm pulling for you, Awkwafina.
Yeah, like, what other movies, aside from the Oscars, like, what else, is it Screen Actors? There's, like, a few other things that are happening either, like, right next to or a little bit after Oscars.
Critics' Choice just happened. I don't know if SAG happened yet.
Yeah, okay. I have to.
But I think SAG happened already, but, like, obviously the Golden Globes are the first weekend of January. Everybody gets drunk and makes stupid nominations. But like, this deserved a lot more love, and if I was gonna pick like a group of films that were really small and didn't get enough attention, this is definitely one of them.
Definitely. I just really like this movie. I thought, and the fact that not only something that I had no idea as kind of like a very common, or at least the way that the movie portrays it to be like a very common occurrence for the thing that happens. Can I say what happens a little bit, or no, not really? I don't know if I want to spoil it.
Spoilers!
Okay, so there's a tiny spoiler. Main character has a grandmother who is a lot more ill than she knows. Even though the main character doesn't agree with it, the family comes to a consensus that grandma needs to be kept in the dark of her own, I guess, like, medical health, just so things can be, I guess, like, calm. They go to such extents that they actually end up having kind of like it's almost like a rushed / sort of fake wedding. Is it a fake wedding or was it a real wedding?
It's not a fake.
It wasn't a fake wedding.
It's
it was
not
a real wedding.
Fake wedding.
Okay.
But it's the guys that they're like, we're all gonna get together for this wedding, but really we're here to see grandma.
Yeah. So that movie. I don't know, that movie's really awesome. And I don't think, just because this movie was a little bit smaller, I mean, I don't think it was a bomb, like a bomb.
I think Farewell made A24 some decent money.
Okay, excellent.
Which, yeah, they've had a couple over the past couple of years that made them some decent money, and I'm pretty sure this was one of them.
Yeah, and just because she didn't get like an Oscar nomination doesn't mean that like her career isn't gonna progress past like this or Jumanji. Like I hope she
Awkwafina.
Yeah, Awkwafina. Yeah. I hope she gets like a lot more opportunities.
And Lulu Wang, I think, is gonna get more opportunities at A24 because that's what they do. They latch on to writers and directors and give them chances. Look at Ari Aster. They let him make whatever the hell he wants. Because that's the only way Midsummer got made. Like, I could see them making Hereditary. Like, it's funny calling that accessible. And then, compared to Midsummer, it is. Because Midsummer, woo! But Lulu Wang, Awkwafina, and sorry, Laura Dern, when you win your Oscar, you should walk down and hand that to the actress that played the grandma. Because she deserves to win Best Supporting Actress because, my God, she's the most adorable old lady since Betty White.
Same hairstyles.
It's funny because it's true.
That movie was fantastic. Everybody should watch it.
Now, my number 6 is Uncut Gems. And yes, this does win the award. I had an ulcer by the end of the movie. Because, God, this movie is just a live wire of tension from start to finish. And Adam Sandler blows you away. And on my day-to-day basis, I quote this movie all the time. It's like, I disagree, Gary. I disagree. And just like, what Adam Sandler does in this movie is so scummy, yet so likable. It's like, why do I like you? You're such a scumbag, but you're so amazing at it. And honestly, and this is weird to say, I don't think this movie would have worked as well as it did if it wasn't for Adam Sandler. I don't know how many actors could have jumped into that and created that same kind of character. And I'm impressed by just like, there's a interesting grouping of actors in this film. Like, I believe it's Julia Fox who plays his mistress. I thought she was great. Idina Menzel had some great moments, and you can ask my girlfriend, I got super, super excited when Judd Hirsch showed up on screen, because I love Judd Hirsch. But, like, the Safdie brothers with Good Times and Uncut Gems finds the actor that's going to make their movie. And they might seem like an odd choice. Like, Robert Pattinson owned Good Times. Adam Sandler owns Uncut Gems. Even Kevin Garnett gives a great performance in this as himself, and Lakeith Steinfeld's great in it too. And this movie, there's not many times where I sat through a film and by the end I had to lift my jaw off the floor because how it ended. I felt like a gut punch. Bam! I'm just like, I think the last time I felt that way was at the end of Infinity War. Because I remember sitting there being like, at the end of that movie and this movie, and just being like, holy crap!
Yeah, because like something happens at the end of this movie where it's like, this is not going to happen, and then it does, and then something else even bigger that you didn't expect to happen happens, and it's like what? And if that happens, that means all the rest of movie.
I will be watching this movie quite a bit because I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, please buy it. I will literally I'll Venmo you half.
I will be buying Uncut Gems when it comes out, and that'll be easy because it's at the end of the alphabet.
LOL. Yeah, you definitely have to spin your camera around and then show them.
But that was my number 6. What's your number 6?
Okay, so I'm gonna go Marriage Story. So I just wrote down a couple of things. Acting, fantastic. The argument / there's a scene at the very end where you take how the movie started and you kind of reference it at the very end in a different context, and it's not only is it hard to watch and to listen to, but it's also after you've seen everything that happened before it, because can we do one more spoiler? But it's not even a spoiler. Yeah, exactly. This movie is 100% about the breakdown of a relationship, and it's not there is no Parent Trappy moment at the end. There is no. It's just kind of just. It's almost like the movie. It's having the characters get used to this new normal that they're gonna have to deal with forever, including their son. So that was really awesome, the ending. I saw another reviewer say, she was like a female film reviewer, and she said she was curious how men's takes and women's takes would be on watching this movie and how their sympathies would lie. So I actually kind of went on the opposite. I actually thought that Adam Driver's character wasn't maybe the victim all the time as he kind of like argued himself to be?
I feel like by the end of the movie, for me, because this film starts off with a very beautiful moment, which is odd because, like, celebrating relationships, like all the positive things, and you get to see the brightest, greatest pieces of these two people, and then they slowly get torn apart over the course of this movie, and everything that you feel like you love about Adam Driver's character, he kind of squanders it. And it's just like, I don't feel like I can justify my feelings towards his character anymore by the end. And it's tough because situations make you do uncharacteristic things, and it definitely feels like this kind of movie. Like, he did some shit. He did some bad things. And once you really realize how real some of those things are, you're just like, sorry, guy.
Yeah.
Like, you screwed up.
I think, so I watched this with my girlfriend, and then, like, we watched it, had a conversation about it, then she had to head out, then I decided to, like, rewatch it again, because I have chronic insomnia, but, I remember she and I having a conversation about, like, the importance of communication and why that is so important, not only in terms of, like, hey, honey, like, how's it going, like, check-ins, but also kind of, if you're going to be in, like a healthy adult romantic relationship with somebody, like, you really have to make sure that, like, your goals are, like, within the mind of, like, somebody else. Hopefully you guys are kind of, like, helping each other out, and then you add a kid to that, and then it's also kind of like, how are you guys helping each other out in that aspect? There's so many awesome, like, conversations someone could possibly have about relationships and parenting and divorce and how family can sort of, like, screw that up a bit. And, like, career stuff too, like, what's more important, like, your career or your relationship. Actually, it reminds me of that movie Whiplash, when, like, the main character kind of, like, chooses to be great instead of be in a relationship. I don't know. There's, like, a lot of interesting things you could possibly have about this movie, which makes it a good movie.
Yeah.
Because you can sort of just, like, deconstruct it and, like, kind of, like, project onto it and then cry about it.
Yep, I felt very emotional by the end of this movie.
And then throw, like, a bunch of words at it.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Now we're in the top 5. Boop, boop. And now we're going to talk about a very different movie. And my number 5 is Knives Out. And I promise I will not talk about The Last Jedi. I promise.
Can I?
Okay. Rian Johnson is one of my favorite writer-directors, because he really knows how to take an idea and take what you expect about it and just flip it on end. Because, like, you have a murder mystery coming out in 2019, and you had Murder on the Orient Express, the Kenneth Branagh remake that came out recently, and it's like, I enjoy that movie. I'll rewatch that movie, but that's not a great film. And I felt like what's lacking is, like, well, besides the fact that it was a lot of style over substance, but also it's like, that story's been told before, and you kind of lose the magic in a mystery if you know what's going on. I never knew what the hell was going on in this movie, and I absolutely loved it. And there's so many conventions of a mystery that you expect. Like when you find out how this person was killed. And when that happens along in the story. And how the structure of this movie is. And you're just like, wait a minute. Did I just watch that? Like, did that just happen right now? But I think the most impressive thing about this screenplay, and which is why I'm so glad he got nominated for original screenplay, is the detail. Everything's a detail. Everything comes back. And everything is used. And not just by the director used, but by the characters, and you see the manipulation, and the characters in this movie. It's such a wide berth of just these crazy group of characters, and it's all centered around this most ridiculous private investigator, Benoit Blanc. And it's just like, it's Daniel Craig sounding like Foghorn Leghorn. But he's amazing in it. And he feels real despite the fact that he feels like a cartoon. It's like, I honestly could see him being a real person. And I don't want to give away this little monologue that he had at one point in this movie because it's so ridiculous and funny. But talking about donuts. And if you watch this movie, you'll know when it happens, and you'll just have, like, laugh, because it's so absurd. But, like, you see the gears turning in his head. And somebody who's really going to benefit from this film is Ana de Armas, who plays, which I didn't realize going into this film, she's the main character of this movie. And it's just like, what? It
was a really interesting choice, too.
Yeah, because the thing is, you go watch the trailers, and you're like, I'm assuming Daniel Craig's the main character of this movie with all this crazy group of characters, which the acting in this. Fantastic. Chris Evans. Captain America is my favorite Avenger, and he's my favorite character in the MCU, but I'm kind of okay with the fact that he's moving on, because then I get to see more stuff like this. Because Chris Evans has a lot of range, and he was fantastic in this. Jamie Lee Curtis is great. Don Johnson's having a resurgence, and you think it's a different kind of Michael Shannon role. And then there's one particular scene where you realize why Michael Shannon's in this movie, and it's just like, yep.
Yeah, he had his moment.
There's Michael Shannon. There he is. And even, like, Toni Collette's like, I know you. I read a tweet about a New Yorker article about you. You're famous. And just like hers, like from the trailer, she just seems like a caricature, but she's a fun, interesting character, and everybody's ridiculously fun, interesting characters in this. The music's great. It feels so like old school, old timey kind of murder mystery, and Christopher Plummer was great too. And I'm glad you got a lot. You get a lot more of him in this movie than I thought you were going to, because obviously he's the one who gets murdered. So it's like, but you get some flashbacks and really enjoy it. But I love this movie to death. Yeah.
LOL.
You're welcome.
I remember when I forget which James Bond. I'm really bad at the movie titles tonight, so I forget which
Casino
James Bond.
Royale, Quantum of Solace,
It was
Skyfall.
It was like the one right before or right after he said something like
Spectre, yeah, where he said that I'd rather slit my wrists than do another James Bond movie.
Exactly, and then right around that time he did that movie, which I also forget the title of.
Logan Lucky.
Is that the one where it's kind of like a heist?
I am incarcerated.
Yes.
Yes, and he's a great comedic actor.
He's completely transformed himself. Like, it wasn't just the fact that his hair was blonde. Like, he was really, really good. And he was extremely, extremely different. And, like,
you forget it's Daniel Craig, honestly.
Yeah, like, this movie, like, did the exact same thing. It's like, wow, crap, you are a really, really good actor. Like, you don't need, like, a gun in your hand or, like, karate chopping people to be...
Yeah, we're still going to get one more.
Yeah. Actually, with this movie, aren't you going to get another one, right? Like a TV show or a sequel movie to Knives Out?
Oh, Knives Out, yeah. He's working on a sequel now because this movie's made $270+ million worldwide.
People like mystery, apparently.
I love this one because it's amazing. But yeah, so that's my number 5. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is John Wick 3.
Wow, I'm so happy you put that in your top 10 because now I'm going to get a chance to gush about John Wick. But go ahead.
Okay, so let me see. So the random things I said, number 1, the fact that Keanu Reeves is a 55-year-old man. Wow.
And could actually kill you.
Yes, like easily. Spectacle is off the charts. This movie is so awesome. I guess all of them are really awesome. I remember when the first one came out, I hadn't heard anything like who is this director? Like, what was going on? And I watched this movie and it's like, that's fantastic. Watch the second one and it's like, that was crazy. And this third one is so bloody and so has so many like bullets in it, and there's so much
and knives.
Oh yeah, and it's also unexpectedly funny. And I've never seen a horse used as a weapon before. That was crazy. Like, there's so many awesome, amazing things I had never seen before. Like, the katanas on motorbikes.
Yeah.
Like, there's like so many awesome, random, ridiculous moments where it's just like it keeps going and topping, and I'm here for as many movies as they can possibly like churn out.
I'm ready for Halle Berry to get her own spinoff. I'm ready for the Continental, which apparently is debuting after John Wick Chapter 4 in 2021. So I'm all about it. The mythology in these movies is ridiculous. It's like, I'm going to bring up Star Wars for a minute because Kathleen Kennedy made a weird comment that there's no source material for Star Wars.
Yikes.
Despite the fact that all the legends that were, like, books and all that kind of stuff that was made before Disney bought it, there's so much stuff in it. John Wick has a ridiculous amount of mythology in it. There's so much to take advantage of. And I just remember watching John Wick, the first one, for the first time and just hearing, John Wick is not the boogeyman. John Wick is the man you send to kill the boogeyman. And it's just like, he killed the man with the pencil. And just like all these little things, like the fact that you just say his name and there's a audible reaction from everyone in the room, that's impressive. And this movie was ridiculous. And yes, they have my money. I will see every single John Wick movie, no matter how many they make, because honestly, which, if anybody's watched an action movie review from me, I'm an action movie snob. And John Wick has fueled that, along with Mad Max Fury Road here. Because, like, if you can make movies like that, there's no reason why you need to make movies with 16 cuts in, like, 10 seconds. Because you don't have somebody who could hop a fence. Taken 3. I'm coming at you. But it's like, this is amazing filmmaking. Like, I nominated the cinematographer for Best Cinematography for my Wasteland Reviewer Awards when John Wick Chapter 2 came out, because the cinematography in these movies is amazing. Like, these are really well-directed, shot films. Just ridiculous. And thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, and also, like, he's doing so much of his own stuff.
Almost all of it, I'm sure. Like, he's Tom Cruise level. And, like, watching Keanu Reeves do these shooting ranges.
Yeah, please, if anybody wants to see something extremely interesting, watch him just, like, training. Because he, and also Halle Berry.
Yeah, because he got her to do it, too.
Yeah, like, they just really take it extremely seriously. Also, Best Supporting Actor nominations should go to both of her dogs. Because they're also fantastic. No, but, like, the thumbs up.
They destroyed people.
Yeah. Fantastic movie. Carrie-Anne Moss, please. I know Daredevil might make you really sad that it's over. Please come back. Hang out with Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves again, please.
They're coming back, which as of right now, Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 come out the same day.
Yeah. I heard about that.
Which one of them's going to change. Like, you literally cannot put those out the same day.
But you can have me pay for both of them.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, most people, like, they would cannibalize the box office. So from a business standpoint, not smart. It was the same reason why Batman v Superman moved up 2 months from Civil War, because they were supposed to release the same day. Yeah, we saw how that one turned out. Number 4. Parasite. And I'm not going to say a thing about this plot, because I didn't know a thing about this plot. And it's better that way. All you have to know is this movie will take you for a ride you'll never expect. Never expect. There's twists and turns in the story that are just unbelievable. And Bong Joon-ho, who is getting a lot of attention now, and I can easily see him winning Best Director, and this winning Best Picture, and this winning Best Original Screenplay.
And deserving it.
Yeah. But I've been on the hype train since his movie about a literal train, Snowpiercer. And Snowpiercer, and I didn't love Okja as much as I think a lot of people did, but, like, I could admire the film, but Snowpiercer is an amazing film. And then seeing this film and being so different, but the themes of classism are so deep rooted in this, and the most surprising thing is how it hits you, because you're not really expecting how deep this film's going to get into that until it kind of comes up and stabs you in the face. And the acting is great, which a lot of people are upset that some of the actors in this didn't get any recognition at the Oscars either, but like the performances are amazing, the story is incredible, and this is just a special film.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Let's pretend like I was like a YouTube commenter and I said something which I don't think comes up like a lot nowadays, because I feel like a lot of other cultures are like it's like a lot accessible and people are a little bit more like okay with like venturing out. But what if somebody said, to be honest, I'm kind of scared of subtitles? What would you tell them? I'm scared of subtitles. I don't really watch international things. What would you tell them?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I have my own issues with it.
Okay.
Because it can be distracting having to read the subtitles while also, because I like to drink in the whole frame watching films because I love cinematography so much. And it can be distracting when you can't spend as much energy looking at the whole frame because you're trying to read these subtitles. But it's like, here's my thing. Why miss out on an amazing film just because you have to read? And I'm glad Bong Joon-ho said something in his acceptance speech at the Golden Globes.
I forget what.
He said, if you can get past 1 inch of text on a screen, you open your whole world to new cinema. And I didn't watch a whole lot of foreign films growing up. And honestly, I remember being in Alternative Films Club at Rider University got me into it. And this guy over here picking Let the Right One In and Devil's Backbone are two absolutely amazing foreign horror films that I own both of them. Which it's funny because this guy loves how much that I watch horror movies now.
Yeah. Can I show them the book?
Sure.
Wow.
Go to Barnes & Noble and get this history of horror movies. But if you can get past that, it's so worth it. And the other thing is dub versus sub. I think dubbing works in animation. If you get a good vocal cast, like, it's interesting because I binged the last 3 seasons of My Hero Academia because I wasn't up on it. Now I'm up on it. And I'm to the point where I'm a week ahead before the English dub version comes to America. So I started watching the sub version. And it's... the dubbed voice acting in this is great. But the thing is, it's like, I'm not going to wait an extra week and be behind just because I want to watch and listen to it in English. But, like, don't watch live-action movies dubbed. They're horrible. And they're just, like... I remember I was watching a smaller Netflix film called Mirage, which I think came out in 2019 and is something I would recommend on Netflix. And I didn't realize you could change it to subbed. And I'm watching the first half of this movie. I'm like, I'm loving this movie, except the dubbing's awful. And then I switched it over. I'm like, oh, so much better. But, like...
sometimes you didn't get a choice because, like, I was trying to watch Ip Man, like, with my family. Or, like,
oh, is it all dubbed?
Yeah, it's all subbed. Like everything. Like, you can't change it to having, like, English. And then people and everybody in my family was like, turn it off.
Well, and honestly, if I were to pick my favorite foreign language cinema, it'd probably be, and now I'm grouping here, but mostly Japanese, but Asian cinema. Because, like, Parasite's a Korean film, and then I'd be so upset if I never watched anything by Akira Kurosawa. It's great. And watch a bunch of anime. I saw Weathering with You today from the writer and director of Your Name. So I'm going to be doing a review for that next weekend. But, like, oh, I love that movie. But yeah, so that's my response.
Cool, very cool. Thanks.
What is your number 4?
Okay, number 4 is, I guess the one that sparked a lot of, well, I guess it was Joker, but a lot of people made reference to my number 4. It's Endgame. The idea of cinema versus entertainment. I don't know where you fell on that, or how you felt about that, or how you guys feel about that.
Think that Martin Scorsese being a jackass, but whatever.
Did you see what Bob Iger, like the president?
Oh my god, when
Disney,
he said that Black Panther's better than anything Martin Scorsese's made, I'm like.
And he also said when he was talking about Scorsese and Coppola, when they were saying, oh yeah, like no, like movies like that are bad, and he said you guys are babies or something like just look it up. He's just like ripping on.
Oh yeah, Bob Iger went to town.
Yeah, like I respected that, but
superhero movies are cinema.
Yeah, like I don't know how someone could qualify like an effort where you have to write and direct and then costume and then act and then edit, like a whole situation that takes not only this cinematic effort has been like 10 years in the making, but also just in general, like hundreds of people have like literally like in the credits.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching.
Credits are like 2 hours themselves.
Yeah, like I felt like I was watching like the extended
edition of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Credits.
Yeah. Like, wow.
I think Return of the King's credits are legitimately 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like the thank yous just keep going and going and going and going. But this movie was so amazing. Like on every single level you could possibly think of. Not only just being like a movie by itself, but then also being a movie within a series, and the fact that all the characters, I mean, yeah, like the characters have had like a lot of fleshing out,
yeah,
like over the years, but every single character has their own personality. Like you understand what like the motivation is, because you understand and care about the motivation. Like the emotional moments actually really do hit, like that scene where Ant-Man sees his daughter.
I didn't get super emotional during that scene the first time I watched it. This says something about this movie. I almost cried the second time I watched that movie and saw that scene, because like just the look on Paul Rudd's face made me feel those feelings. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, like it was very hard in a good way. Like, it was hard to sort of like see all the things that happen to the characters. And this movie, like it starts off, okay, tiny little spoiler for the 10 people that haven't seen the movie. Like,
this movie made almost $3 billion worldwide. I think everybody has seen it, so I'm not worried about spoilers for Endgame at this point. Because if you haven't seen the memes on the internet...
Yeah, like you've seen the movie.
You haven't been on the internet since this movie came out, so...
Like, this movie starts off with, like, a major like disappointment in terms of like the characters. Like they are extremely unsatisfied and angered over something has happened.
20 minutes of this movie is just like, holy crap. And
like, how are you going to dig yourself out of what, because we thought that Endgame was supposed to be kind of like them going like this, but it, like rising back up. But if anything,
not yet.
It's kind of like they have to fall again, deeper than Infinity War, just to rise back up again.
Fantastic. To get back to the whole Martin Scorsese comments, you arguing that you have to have a human drama to really have real human drama is BS. Because genre films have been creating wonderful cinema for decades. And it uses something, they use metaphors, it uses allegories to really portray important themes. And the first, how many times can you say, I watched a superhero movie that literally spent an hour of its runtime dealing with the true human emotion of grief? Like Endgame did. I'm sorry, Martin Scorsese, I didn't cry during The Irishman. I cried multiple times watching Endgame. So, what's real human emotion here?
Exactly.
Like, I felt a lot during this movie. And I listened to the song Portals from the soundtrack. Think about it.
Oh, on your left.
And I get goosebumps every time. And just, that is one of the most awe-inspiring shots in the history of cinema. And the action's amazing. The story is deeply thematic, and there's so much for this film to wrap up. And like I know criticisms of like fat shaming. We're talking about Fat Thor, which we could talk about Fat Thor at this point.
Mm.
And he's legitimately dealing with PTSD.
Yeah, like I saw a meme about that. Like people are like fat shaming. Then I saw like a different thing. So if anybody doesn't know Reddit, everybody should get into Reddit. But there's a subreddit called he doesn't like it because it's basically like a black hole of productivity or anti-productivity. But there's this subreddit that I just found maybe like a month ago called Movie Details, and they'll take like tiny little like random things that you might not notice, or maybe because you don't like watch like DVD commentaries and stuff like that, and they'll kind of just like say random things. They talked about the fact that when you look at Fat Thor, which is weird to say, but if you look at Fat Thor and kind of like why he is like the way he is, that's really, not only is it really realistic, like he had to go through something extremely hard, and then like what is like an actual like realistic response to going through something extremely hard, like you're kind of like apathetic or like you've given up hope, and then for him to take it and then still push through towards the end. And it's not like he like at the very end he became like super thin or anything like that. Like he was still.
Well, that was a conversation.
Well, like
about
becoming
like
thin
when
again?
like he got like both of his hammer and his axe, and the lightning comes down to turn him into like muscular Thor again.
I like that they didn't do that.
I'm glad they didn't too, because the thing is, it's like he was an alcoholic. Like he drank himself into obesity and into depression, and it was really sad because. Think about it. Out of all these characters, who has had the most emotional roller coaster of any of these characters?
Mr. Thor.
His dad died. His mom died. His brother died. His best friend died. All of his other friends died. Like, how much of his actual civilization's left? His people that he's responsible for? Like, his arc in Infinity War was amazing. And that performance he gave in that was moving. And this... he felt like a live wire, and all of his feelings were on the surface at all moments, and it was tragic. And boy, when he's like, "We'll kill him proper this time," and just like, psh, psh, and he got the whole braid beard and everything. Oh my god, goosebumps. That's amazing.
Fantastic.
Oh, and I cried, legitimately cried at the end of that movie. Damn. Yep.
Yeah. Thumbs up, Shane.
Number 3. Now speaking, and now for something completely different.
LOL.
The Lighthouse.
Oh, extremely different. We didn't see our list, by the way, so
no.
like I'm like reacting like in real time to his list. Like
So, Willem Dafoe should win Best Supporting Actor for playing a crazy pirate man. Just because, like, this movie, I'm not going to give away much at all about this movie, but when you have a movie where it has masturbation, sex with mermaids, beating seagulls to death, and a lot of farting, how is this movie this amazing? Because that just sounds really weird. And The Lighthouse is really weird. And speaking of A24, and literally letting their writer-directors do whatever the hell they want, David Eggers making The Witch and then The Lighthouse. Who, in 2019, would give a director money to make a movie in a square aspect ratio, in black and white, with sea shanties in it, and a score that's mostly made up of like, and just two men going completely insane for 2 hours. And it was a beautiful masterpiece. Like, holy crap!
I remember when Annihilation came out. Apparently, there was talks from like the studio talking to the director that basically were like, yeah, so this ending seems like too crazy. Are you sure you want to do it? And then
Alex Garland's just like, yes.
Yeah, like, I want to do that. This movie, I cannot imagine that conversation didn't happen when they finished the screenplay and was like, so you want to do that? Because what? And he's like, I guess he was also like, yes, we're doing that.
Here's a question. Is this a weirder screenplay than Midsommar?
That's interesting.
Who can one-up each other in the house of A24?
Yeah, because like there's some shots, especially like as people start to become, I guess, like crazy and stuff. There's some shots in this movie inside of Lighthouse that are so like, did I just see that? Can I say one? Like, did I just see? Yeah, like, did I just see like an actual mermaid? Is he making out with like an actual mermaid, or is he like what?
And you don't know. Like, did it actually happen? I don't know.
Did he just turn into like? There's so many awesome weird things in this movie. Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
What if somebody said to you, I don't know, Shane, like I'm not that big of a movie person. I'm a little afraid at the idea of watching black and white movies in general. Like black and white, it's so odd. It's so different from anything else that I usually watch. What would you say to that person?
I would say,
getting out of their comfort zone or whatever.
Honestly, similar to what I said before, it's like, why would you let the color of a movie get in the way of you watching a great film? Because it's like, and this is going to segue into my favorite thing about this movie. This film looks like if they made movies in like the late 1800s, this looks like it was made then.
The screenplay definitely sounds like it. That dialogue. Yeah.
But, like, this is starkly beautiful black and white. There's one shot of Willem Dafoe going completely crazy, and how it's lit, and, like, the shadows under his eyes, the blackness between his teeth, his beard, and his white eyes, and it's just strikingly beautiful. And this is another one of the movies on my list where I'm like, I can understand why people might not appreciate this.
Because the ending, or in general?
In general, because this is, if you say, make a list of all the alienating things you could possibly make in a movie in 2019.
Make the ending weird, make the people
black
talk weird, make it black and white.
Well, because the thing is, one thing I appreciate about David Eggers is he writes all of his screenplays in period accurate speak. That was one of the most alienating things about The Witch. It was all in old American English. It was hard to understand sometimes, but like it felt so real. And this is a kind of film where I never felt like I was taken out of it, ever. Because it felt so tangible and put together. And the fact that this got nominated for Best Cinematography at the Oscars, I'm like, it was one of those situations where in the back of my head, I'm like, this has to be. This is one of the most impressively different, incredible works of a DP this whole entire year. Except for one. We're going to talk about that soon. But, yeah, there's no way Lighthouse is getting nominated for Best Cinematography. It did. And I remember reading those results of the nominations being like, it actually happened. Holy crap. And I absolutely loved it. But yeah, there's a Lighthouse. That's my number 3.
Got you. All right. Let me see. I just want to have all my notes in front of me. Sweet. My number 3 is The Joker. A lot of people can compare and have compared The Joker to Parasite because it has a lot to say about the haves and the have-nots, and kind of like what is that, like that line that Anne Hathaway has in Dark Knight Rises, where it's kind of like your time is up.
For so long you've had so much and have left so little for everyone else.
Fantastic. That made that trailer. I'm about to watch that trailer after
There's a
video.
storm coming, Mr.
Yeah.
You better batten down the hatches.
And he, well, then he got beat up by her. But
Hey!
like there's that aspect, the fact that the whole world, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in China and other places right now where the whole world is kind of like basically like on fire and are literally like painting their face like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and kind of just like using this movie as like this symbol of like rebellion. There's so many awesome like I guess like social things that probably film students can write essays on.
And this movie made $1 billion.
And it made $1 billion. And this movie is
somehow
like a hard R. My mom would hate this movie. Like this movie is so bloody and it is so dour. I mean, it's funny sometimes, but this movie is so. It's almost like unflinching with anything that it wants to bring up, and you have to sit there and watch it. And for any like fans that are like into comic books, if you like Batman and stuff, you'll get like the psychological aspects of like the reason why somebody that might like let's say like because I majored in psych, so that's kind of the reason why I kind of edged out Parasite. But for me, like just personal taste. But there's so many reasons why like on the psychological aspect, it's kind of interesting. Because you not only like breaking down a character in terms of like where they've been, what they want, where they're going, but also kind of like why they are the way that they are. And so that's one thing I like about the movie. There's the society stuff. Then there's also like the acting is amazing. This movie is
A acting.
Yeah, like this movie is cinema. This movie is fantastic.
Which is hilarious because this movie's heavily influenced by 2 Martin Scorsese movies.
Yeah. And
Taxi Driver and King of Comedy.
Which are also really, really awesome movies. And don't let his, I mean, like, whatever, he said whatever, I don't know, what is he, like 80 or something? Like, he can, like, 80-year-old.
He's Martin Scorsese. He can say whatever the hell he wants, honestly.
Yeah, he has, like, how many, like, awards and stuff. Like, but don't let his comments, I guess, take away from the fact that his career is fantastic and it's masterclass. And those 2 movies that Shane just brought up are movies that like anybody and everybody should watch, not just like film people. But Joker was just a really good movie. I don't know if they're gonna do a sequel or if they should.
I'm okay either way, honestly. Like I'll see it if they make another one, but like I don't feel like this movie was made to make a sequel. And which is interesting, because you don't get a whole lot of comic book movies like that anymore, that are just meant to be like, here's this isolated thing. Especially, it's a hard decision for Warner Brothers to be like, this made $1 billion, we better make another one.
Yeah, like we're not going to walk away from that.
And it's a business decision, but like Joaquin Phoenix, and it's a tale of 2 performances this year at the Academy Awards, because it's him and Adam Driver. And they're so very different performances. And this one is just how badly the world can do wrong to somebody and how wrong somebody can be in what it does with what life gives them. Because this world shit on Arthur Fleck, and he uses it to shit on it right back in the most horrible way. And like this film gets a lot of controversy because it's inciting people, inciting incels, and all kinds of stuff on the internet. And, like, it's getting controversy because it has a Gary Glitter song in it that he dances to. But, like, this film's, like, if you were to tell me the guy from The Hangover is going to direct a film that's going to get 11 Academy Award nominations.
I think that's, like, the most out of any of the nominees.
Yes. It has 1 more than The Irishman, and it has 1 more than 1917, which is crazy. But it's the most nominated film at the Oscars this year, and it's an important film. If anything, for being something that the past 3 years, no matter what Martin Scorsese says or Francis Ford Coppola says, it's moving towards the fact that films adapted from a graphic novel or a comic book are getting attention. Like, Logan got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
I think it should have won that year, actually.
Yeah, it really should have. And then Black Panther got nominated for Best Picture.
And it also deserved that, too, for, like, a bunch of reasons.
And, like, if it could, like, honestly, I wouldn't have been sad if Endgame got nominated for Best Picture. It should have got nominated for Best Score.
I don't understand.
I'm still mad about that.
There are like 10 slots, but they only do 9. For the past like 4 years, they only do 9.
Right? It's very, very hard mathematically to have a 10 slot. They have a whole entire system. I remember, I think it was John Campion did a video that I watched where he explains how it works.
Please forward it to me.
It's really complicated, but mathematically, it's really hard to get a 10 spot, which is why they haven't had a 10 spot
for like years.
So this is an important film, and why it made $1 billion. It's the highest grossing R-rated film. It beat Jesus. It beat Passion of the Christ and Deadpool. So there you go.
Yeah, that movie, like, there's so many, like, if you like horror, then it has a lot of that. If you like thriller stuff or psychological stuff, it has a lot of that. If you just like watching a movie, if you just like dramas in general, like, it has a lot of that stuff. Yeah. Like, there's so many interesting, cool things that somebody could say about Joker that it now, I feel like, hopefully, maybe you're gonna need like maybe 2 or 3 more Joker level kind of like accolade worthy films, but I
don't think 2020 is gonna be that year for comic book movies.
Yeah.
But like, we're getting there.
Yeah, like, we are like moving towards that being like a legitimate thing. Not all comic books are meant for children.
Yeah.
Like Watchmen, that is in no way meant for children.
Oh, if you haven't watched that HBO show, watch it.
Yeah,
watch The Watchmen.
But yeah, thumbs up to Joker.
So my number 2 is 1917. And I'm not going to delve too much deeper than Matt did, except one thing. Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins is the most amazing cinematographer ever. He is the GOAT. And he's going to get a second Oscar. And he deserves it. This film, I felt like I could smell it. It was that immersive. Them walking across no man's land, and there's horse corpses, human corpses, swarms of flies, bloated bodies, and just everything. It's just like the camera going along the ground, the surface of water, and you feeling like you're just in it. And the most rousing sequence I've seen in a film almost this whole entire year of a camera going up a dark stairwell, out a window, with the music swelling, and you just seeing a hellscape of the ruins of a town, flares shooting in the air, and a building on fire, and just how striking that looked. And from all these little performances, because besides the 2 main characters, you only get supporting performances from these big actors for like a minute or 2. And they do great things with that very limited screen time. Like Benedict Cumberbatch just shows up. Richard Madden, like towards the very end. It's a really emotionally satisfying and technically film satisfying experience. But yeah, that's my number 2.
Got you. All right. Number 1.
What's your number 2?
Oh, sorry, number two, my bad.
Don't skip that.
I'm getting excited. But yeah, no, number 2, 100% needs as much love as it could possibly get. I think I've seen this movie 3 times.
Go see it.
Like, I bought a DVD. It is Booksmart. That's one of the first movies that my girlfriend and I actually watched together. I remember thinking, like, so I really hope this movie isn't too crazy, because I want to gauge like how crazy like, and of course the movie is extremely like off the wall, but she loved it. This movie is fantastic. This movie was directed by written by Olivia Wilde.
Yep.
This movie has,
and her hubby's in it.
Oh yeah.
Jason Sudeikis has such a weird role in this movie.
Like, he is a a principal, and also an Uber driver.
Was it an Uber or was it a Lyft?
Yeah, something. Like, he's like awesome. That Cardi B joke is really funny. I don't know. This movie is fantastic. I think the reason why it's my number 2 is, well, number 1, like, I hope like your people like watch it, and just so like they know about it. Because I don't know if this movie was, I guess, as awesome box office wise as it was critically.
Booksmart?
Yeah.
Booksmart bombed.
Yeah.
So people need to go see it because it's getting re-released.
Okay.
For a little bit, so please go see this movie, because
that's awesome.
Beanie Feldstein, Jonah Hill's younger sister, is amazing. Catherine Dever, I absolutely loved her. I want to see her in so many things. Like, this was even in the trailer, but I laughed so hard when this happened in the movie, where it's like, I call a shotgun. I'm just kidding, I don't have a shotgun.
Yeah.
When she's getting arrested by the cops. Oh my god, but like, and if somebody tells you, oh, this is just the female Superbad, they're disrespecting this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're putting this movie pegs down on what it should be, because I personally would watch this over Superbad any day. I absolutely love Booksmart. Such a great film.
And I like Superbad too. Superbad. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of gross out stuff in it, but also it has a lot to say about kind of like you're like going through like a very different change, like in terms of like where you are in life. And so is this movie like that movie was like really cool in terms of like the relationship stuff and kind of like moving on. So it was like the emotional part. But this movie, like, it not only had that, but also had other like random things like Malala, like random, like it made it very just made it very, you gotta watch the movie to understand. It made it very, I guess, like of the time period, and then also just really funny shit. It has such an amazing soundtrack.
Them dancing when she shows up to pick her up to go to school, and them dancing is just so endearing.
Yeah, I can't dance that well at all.
And then like the moonwalk that Catherine Devers was doing was perfect. And Billie Lourd is going to be a star because she just stole every single scene she's in this movie. She was so ridiculous. And no matter how funny this movie is, there is some impressive filmmaking in this film. There's one scene where there's an argument happening, and it's so well done because the sound gets saturated out. Like, it goes away. And the camera seems to be so focused on the two of them arguing, but it has a deep focus that you can see people taking their phones out, people starting to videotape this. And I think that just really encompasses the idea of, like, what it means to be open in a public area in today's world and what can happen. Because anybody could take a phone out and just videotape, and something that seems so personal becomes so unpersonal.
You're like sharing with literally everyone. So yeah, that movie,
go see Booksmart.
Yeah, that movie was fantastic. I think it deserved like a screenplay nominations.
You had some on your list. That and The Farewell got hosed.
Yeah, like I think I would have switched out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think I would have added and then added Booksmart, and then also I would have threw like Little Women in there too, but for original screenplay. But yeah, no.
Well, Little Women would have been adapted, right?
True.
It did get adapted.
It did get adapted?
Yeah.
Okay, well then thumbs up.
Little Women got 6 nominations. It just didn't get Best Director.
Oh, okay. Well,
it got Best Picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Little Women's getting some decent love. It's just, wish Greta Gerwig would have got, well, even more love because she's the one who wrote the screenplay too.
But yeah, no, just.
And we have the same number one, don't we?
Which is good.
Is this the first time it's happened?
No, Annihilation was your number one, I think, a couple of years ago, right?
It was. Oh, man. And it's Jojo Rabbit.
Ta-da!
Now, I will see literally anything made by Taika Waititi at this point. I am sold. Like, they're talking about him making the next Star Wars movie. Sold. Him making an Akira movie. Sold. He's making Thor Love and Thunder. I could care less that Natalie Portman's coming back. Taika Waititi's doing it, so I'm happy. Like, his films balance humor, like a dark humor, and just emotion so well, and who the hell could have made this movie work?
Literally. Like, I wrote that in my thing. I put, where was it? Or was it? This is such a radical idea put to practice. Like, I'm gonna have Hitler be the imaginary friend of a 10-year-old boy set in Nazi Germany, and we're going to have that be like a through line through the whole film, and it be a comedy.
Yep.
Usually.
Yeah.
That would probably have been a really, really hard sell.
It was funny because I remember seeing like the blurb to this and being like, "What is this?" And then I saw Taika Waititi was making. I'm like, "Okay, never mind. I'm on board," because like he could do it. Like, I just rewatched Boy recently. Amazing film. And, like, Hunt for the Wilder People, What We Do in the Shadows, The Ragnarok. I love it all. And this film has the singular scene that sucked the air out of me. Hardest at any scene, I think, this whole entire year from an emotional standpoint. And I think you could probably guess. And I laughed so much watching this movie, but there's real emotional gravity in this, and it means a lot. And there's a lot more depth than you would probably think, because, like, Taika Waititi is playing Hitler. He's Polynesian washing Hollywood. And he plays Hitler. And right off the bat, he seems like, oh, Jojo, what's going on, buddy? And he just seems so nice and supportive, but then he says these horrible things and he gets so jealous, and before you know it, you really see the layers pulled back of just how much of a monster he was the whole entire time. But the thing is, you see it from a child's perspective. By the end of the film, you could argue he's a man. He's prematurely grown up throughout this film, and it's unfair that a kid has to. And it's interesting because his mother, played by Scarlett Johansson, who earned that Best Supporting Actress nomination, because I think this was my favorite performance of hers ever. There's one particular scene where she's acting out somebody else along with herself that was so moving, but she keeps reminding, like, you're a kid. Why are you getting sucked into this? And it's so moving. And Sam Rockwell's character, I thought, was just going to be a complete caricature. Had so much more depth than I ever could have thought that it was going to be. Rebel Wilson's just a caricature, and she's funny. And, like, Stephen Merchant's terrifying. As an SS agent, I'm just like, I didn't think I could be afraid of Stephen Merchant, but I was.
Yeah, you forget, like, how tall he is. Like, in real life, I think he's, like, 6'3" or something. Like, it's like...
No, he's, like, 6'7".
6'7",
He's a really tall dude. And Roman Griffin Davis and Thomasin McKenzie are really the two all-stars of this movie. These two young actors give it their all, and it's so impressive. I love Thomasin McKenzie since I saw Leave No Trace with her and Ben Foster in it. And I loved her in this. She was fantastic. And this film made me feel all the emotions. And that's why it's my number one. It hits every box. And it's sharp. It's funny. It's biting. It's everything. All rolled into one. And just, I'm all in on anything Taika Waititi does.
He's really, really awesome. Like, there's a few, like, filmmakers that when you look at sort of every single thing that they've done, and they haven't done, like, their careers haven't been, like, decades and decades long, but every single movie that they put out, it's like every single thing is a greatest hit. Like, it's like, he is really, really good. Like, really, really good. What I put down, I love the I guess, like, the little romance that the little boy and the little girl have. I love that scene that you were talking about that kind of, like, knocks the wind out of you. I like the fact that it goes beyond this, like, you can go beyond having a conversation whether or not this movie is, like, pro or anti-war, like, in general, and just have a conversation about the fact that this movie urges you to make sure that you remember, like, this stuff actually happened. Like, this stuff, and people actually thought, like, when the little boy, there's, like, scenes where, like, either random characters or a little boy, your main character, who is interesting because you have to listen to many characters say many, many, many uncomfortable things. But a lot of times when they talk about Jews, they have, like, these extremely awful and grotesque, like, I guess, this is like drawings and thoughts about them. These are actual things that people thought and unfortunately still do think sometimes. But like, wow, to have so much horror inside of a movie, and this is a war movie, by the way. Like, there are some scenes in this movie that are, like, just as kind of like as, like, 1917, and I didn't expect that either. So,
and
yeah,
my argument back to anybody who said this was distasteful, making a joke of the Holocaust, only the bold are willing to do satire on extremely meaningful and tough things. And you're probably the same people that got mad at Mel Brooks for making Blazing Saddles because he made a satire about racism.
True.
And Taika Waititi is bold and is willing to take on those things in a raw, meaningful way. And that's why basically anything he's attached to, I know he's going to bring something special to it. Like watching The Mandalorian, that season finale, directed by Taika Waititi, feels like another level. It was my favorite episode. It just felt like it went somewhere special. And he does that, and this film was special. And you really have to be a special kind of film to not be a genre film to be my number one. And this was it.
How do you feel about some people not watch this movie because it's like almost like too uncomfortable? Like I feel like it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Like I think it's okay to kind of push yourself in a situation.
Well, because the thing is, you only learn when you're in discomfort.
Very true.
If you're comfortable, you're not learning.
You need to be challenged.
I learn that every day at work.
Oh yeah, LOL. That's literally his job.
Help students learn.
Yeah, literally his job.
Become comfortable with discomfort. But
Fantastic
there's our
movie.
top 10. And this is another fun video, so thanks, Matt. Woo. So check it out, comment below, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland reviewer.
Bye, guys.